dear friend Beth Myer on the call with us. She's a national marketing director. She's 50 Club going on 75 Club, and she's probably already at 75. I don't know it yet. She's very private about that kind of stuff. She is a
Shay, mute yourself.
yeah, I'm muting Sue right now. Everybody should mute themselves, actually. Beth is an amazing leader, and I wish for all of you that you all find a friend like I have found in Beth, that I can talk to her about anything in this business. If you've taken the Brene Brown program, Beth is on the top of my 1-inch square where I can be my total self, and she can say, "You're right, that stunk," or "You'd really let go of your values on that one, Maura." That's and I really appreciate that kind of honesty that I get from Beth. And I asked Beth to come on the call tonight because, first of all, she's got a really special invitation to include us in. And then she's going to talk about long-term goals versus short-term action goals. And they're two kinds of goals, but there's nobody better than Beth. Beth was the one that turned me on to Ray Higdon and action, and I love her dearly. So thank you, Beth. Take it away.
Thank you for that. And I just want to say one thing. So I'm like, I recently had hip surgery, so if I squirm a lot, I apologize. It's just hard for me to sit still. And I'm also like extra emotional. So I'm just going to say you are one of my dearest friends. And I am so grateful that you were one of the first people that I ever met when I joined this business, because that was my first impression of the company. And what a lucky company and lucky me that you were my first impression. So I agree. And Maura's also on my 1-inch, and I will say through the years, she's called me on my stuff and told me, I'll never forget, right after I made NMD, we were talking. And some of you may have heard this saying, but get on the train or get off my track. And I didn't use language that was really that eloquent. And Maura said, you're going to have to rephrase that. That language isn't going to work. And I was like, oh, all right, whatever, fine. So yes, I trust her and respect her, and will take pretty much anything she says to me because I do trust her that way. So you're super fortunate to have her as your leader. And I'm fortunate to have her as a friend. So I just don't want to forget anything tonight. So I have a bunch of notes that I took, but I will start with my invitation. So I am super, super, super excited that Ray Higdon is actually doing a wrap up on Sunday morning for, so I've arranged for him to do, I'm not going to say my team because obviously I'm inviting you guys. So Ray has agreed to do a breakfast for us on Sunday morning. So the breakfast will be from 8 to 10 Sunday morning, and there's no fee for Ray, just for the breakfast. And Jeff Roberti will also be there, and he will do a little whatever Jeff does. We don't really give Jeff instructions. Jeff just does. But Ray will do a training for us. I would never tell Jeff what to do because Jeff's Jeff. But Ray will do a training for us, and I'm super excited to have him, and just want to personally invite every one of you to join us for that. He's expensive, to go see one of his things is a lot of money. So I'm just I'm just happy that I was able to organize this, and I really want to include all of you, and personally invite you to just experience him up close and personal, because this is a super treat for all of us. So
and Beth, what's the breakfast cost? It's really affordable. It's like
$25, and it's a really fun breakfast. So I didn't want I didn't want the same stuff that we get anywhere. So just trust me, it's going to be a really fun breakfast, like a different fun breakfast. Do you want me to tell you what it is? I could tell you.
Okay.
Keep secrets really well, you can tell. So no, I do keep real secrets really well, but this is a fun one. So, it's a full avocado bar. So there's going to be regular toast, gluten-free toast, and rice cakes, and then avocados, and then everything to go with avocados, and then there'll be some fruit. But just wanted to keep it super simple but fun and different.
Oh, cool.
So it'll be like avocados and veggies and just some chopped stuff that you can put on your toast, and greens and hard-boiled eggs and things that go with avocado. So just thought it'd be fun and different, and not the same old boring, annoying kind of traveling breakfast.
Awesome. Will you let us know how we sign up for that? We'll get all the particulars.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you, and then you can send it out to everybody.
Yeah, got it.
So, in all the years I've been in this business, I've done probably what many of you have done, certainly what Maura's done. And I've read a little of this, a little Eric Worre, some Larry Thompson, Jim Rohn, all these different, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, Simon Sinek, all the stuff that we read. And I was a competitive gymnast, and I actually really love being coached. I love having a coach. I love being told, point your toes, straighten your legs. I like that. I like direction, and I like being coached. I haven't really found anybody that I've wanted to be coached by, to be perfectly honest. And yes, I've gotten a lot from all of those people, but in those small doses, and it's plenty. Like, I wouldn't want more of them. What I got was plenty. And Ray Higdon was the very first one that actually made real sense to me in his approach and in how he coaches and how he trains. And for me, I know what the reason was. I mean, I like his style. I think he's, relatable and all of that, but what he talks about makes a lot of sense to me. And I'm sure everybody will agree with what I'm about to say. There are a lot of things we can't control in life, right? I mean, there are a lot, like, no matter how much I want it to be sunny or how much you might want it to rain tomorrow, that's just kind of too bad. It's going to be what it's going to be. And it doesn't matter how much we wish it, hope it, dance around, sing around, whatever we do, it's not going to do that. We have no control over it. You have no control over the city you were born in, right? You can wish it was different, but it's not. It is what it is. So to try and change, the breakfast is going to be right by the convention center at one of the hotels right on the river, right on the beachfront. Someone just asked that. No, I'm not a squirrel. That didn't just come out of nowhere. It was a question I saw. Although one of my good friends does call me a squirrel. He's like, oh, you just, all over. So just stick with me. I do have a past. That was Marie's fault, not mine. So anyway, so things we have zero control over, there's 0 point in putting any energy there because we have no control over it. So when we say things like, I'm going to add 3 customers today. I mean, yeah, if you're going to go knock somebody over and grab their wallet, maybe. I mean, if you're going to go hijack someone or rob them, sure, you can tell me you're going to sign 3 people up, or I'm going to sign up 5 distributors this week. I mean, if you want to walk into a gym and hold them up and grab all their wallets, sure, you can steal their social security numbers. Great. You'll sign 5 people up. But, we have no control over what people will do. The only thing we have any control over is our action. And so let's just say that was the scenario. You said, I'm going to add 5 new team this week. Well, there are some statistics in this business that really are facts. They really are the science of the numbers. And we know, give or take, I mean, for every 10 people you share the business with, 1 is going to join you in the business. So if you really want 5 new team, that means that you're going to share the business with 50 people this week. Could it be 47? Could it be 52? Yeah, I mean, I don't think we need to nitpick numbers, but that's about what the numbers are. So it's really important to have long-term result goals. I want to be a national marketing director. I want to be 100 club. I'm going to get to, have a long-term result goal. I want to make $50,000 a month. That's important. But short-term, they have to be action goals, because it's the only thing that we can control. We have 0 control over anything else. So right? Does that make sense to everybody? So when you're setting yourself up for the week, just making that shift from, a result to what you're going to accomplish and changing that to an action step will change everything, because it does 2 things. You're so engaged in the action, and, I'm using bigger numbers, but this holds true. If you say, I really want my HLP this week, well, the same thing holds true. So you're just going to do a little less than the person who wants their 500 plus, or, whatever, who wants their $50,000 a day income. You're going to do a little less than that person, but it's still all the same thing. It's still all action versus result. And then when you're in action and you're in activity, you're less tied to the outcome, because you're in activity, you're in action. So you're not focused on the outcome, you're focused on your action. And if you're not focused, right, because there is no outcome, there's no outcome because there's no result. So if you're saying, well, I want to call 10 people, I want to share the business with 10 people. That's the beginning, middle, and end of it. So if those 10 people say yes or no, or they end up ignoring you, or they join you or whatever else, it doesn't matter, because that's not what you were out to do. You were only out to do your action. You weren't out for a result. So there is no feeling at the end of that, right? You are detached from the outcome because you weren't there for an outcome. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And you know what, Beth, I'm so grateful because, you know, what I've realized through this is that I really am so happy that I'm action oriented, because I'm not being crazy about the numbers. I'm really being more focused on what I'm doing, and I'm helping my team, these guys, to get more focused. And guess what, Beth? They're almost all of them are completely engaged doing activities on a daily basis, which I'm really grateful and happy about.
That's
Because
fantastic.
it's changing the fabric of our team, and it's changing our culture. And not that we didn't have we had a great culture, but it's really action oriented now, which I'm very grateful for.
Energy. It changes how you feel about what you're doing, because that, you think about why people don't stick with this business, and I'll probably be a little sarcastic for a second, but if you think about what most people do for a career, and it doesn't really matter what that is, but most people work hard for a long number of years, and maybe there was a lot of education that came before that. So if we even look at Danny, Danny's an attorney, so he went to college, then he went to law school, and then he's practicing in a firm for X number of years. If you think about what we do, I mean, I'll simplify it a little, but basically what we do is we go, oh, here's a video. What'd you like about it? Oh, you're interested? Talk to my friend. I mean, duh. Like, it doesn't get any easier than that. I mean, we literally point, right? You want something? Video. You want something? Friend. I mean, that's our job. Our job is put people in front of your seasoned leader, your sponsor, your upline, whoever you're putting them in front of. Share a tool, some tool, lean on the tool. So a video, a recording, a call, an event, and then put them in front of somebody. That's your only job. That's all we ever do. And then you do it again, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and you do it again. And then you get really good and just say, are you open to this? If not, totally cool. Hope your summer's going well. Look forward to hearing from you. So, I think when you're in action, it takes you out of doubt. And,
yeah.
Anytime you find yourself and so the reason people typically leave a business like this is because of rejection. They don't have a positive business experience, which means they're not making money fast enough, and they don't really like the rejection, and nobody really likes rejection. But if you take the rejection off the table because you're not focused on the outcome, you're just focused on the activity, then you take that big piece off the table, and you're able to keep morale really high, not just for yourselves, but for your team, or the team that you want to have eventually, and you don't spend as much of your time scraping people up off the floor. And does that happen? Yeah, of course it's going to happen, and we're going to be not happy about certain things, but that just keeps diminishing and diminishing over time. And last week, one of my friends, so one of my friends a guy on my team, frontline to me, I'm friends with his wife and have been since we're 12. He loves Ray Higdon. So as soon as I coordinated this whole thing, he was the first person I said, oh my gosh, and I was texting him. And so he texted me back and he said, sorry, I won't be able to stay for that. And when I tell you, from the time he sent that to the time I sent my message, which was, sorry to hear that. I hope Peyton can stay with Sydney because our daughters are friends and they're both going to be at conference. He texted back and he said, no reaction. He was just kidding. He wanted to get a reaction. I said, well, I guess after 14 years, I've gotten really good at disciplining my disappointments. Honestly, it fazed me for about a split second. And I was like, oh, whatever, your loss. It's pretty impressive that at this stage of the game, and things used to really bother me. And now I'm like, whatever.
Beth, though, talk about follow-up, because when you're saying you're not attached to the outcome or the result, that doesn't mean we let down our follow-up when we've done those.
Oh, no. And I'll send more exactly what I use in terms of verbiage. And if you guys want to use it. I mean, if not, that's fine too. But no, so what I mean by not being attached to the outcome is just their yes, their no, or they're ignoring you. Because we only ever have a few outcomes. If we really look at them, they can either fit into the yes, I want to join you. No, I don't want to join you. And I'm ignoring you. Those are really the only three that we ever get. And they fit like some version of that, like some version of yes, no, or I'm ignoring you. And so, when I say not being attached to that outcome, you're not going into the conversation expecting a yes, a no, or an ignore. You're just going in because it's an activity. Like, it's almost like I have to do X, Y, Z today. Okay, good. I did X, Y, and Z. I can go swim in the pool. Or whatever your thing is. It's not, I have to get 3 yeses or I have to get 10 no's. And that's a whole different strategy. And that is a strategy. Many people use the go for no. And that works well. And that actually works if you are trying to put on higher numbers. But the whole design of that is also to take you away from the outcome, meaning you're tied to the activity. You're not tied to what they do. So if you get a yes, then the follow-up is always important. So when you send something, so there are a few things that are super important. Asking people if they're open to whatever it is, to either the business or the product, and I'll talk about that in a second, but talking about either, are you open to, super important to ask, not to assume. So you see a post on Facebook, don't assume just because somebody put that they're broke, miserable, life's horrible, and blah, 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 that what you have is a fit. I would still ask them, are you open to? And then make sure you always give them an out. Anytime you reach out to somebody, you give them some kind of an out. It will reduce the chance of being ignored. So, are you open to, my friend, one of my colleagues tonight is speaking on a call about toxicity. I know that this is something you're super interested in. If I sent you over the info, would you be able to hop on? If not, no big deal. If not, totally cool. Would definitely love to catch up this summer. So something like that. So when I say give them an out, let them off the hook. If not, no big deal. If not, totally cool. If not, no worries. Whatever words sound like you and not me. But and so that giving them the out piece is super, super important because sorry, my bird's screaming in the background.
I was just gonna say, Beth, is that your bird?
It is. And I'm on crutches, so there's no way I can move the computer and myself and not hang up on all of you. So yeah.
No, he's fine. He's fine.
So very important that you give an out. And then if they say, yeah, sure, I'd love to hop on. I'd love to hear. I'd love to listen to. Don't talk a lot. Just say, great, here's the dial-in info. Look forward to hearing what you like best. If you send a video, look forward to hearing what you like best. So you're setting up that expectation that there's going to be a best. They're gonna like something. Right. And, the reason I say look forward to hearing what you like best and then asking, what did you like best? I never ask, what did you think? Because through the years, I've had people say the most bizarre things, like when I say, what did you like best? When I say, what did you think? You'll have people write back and say things like, well, I thought it was kind of odd that she was in white pants. It looked like it was filmed after Memorial Day. Like, what? What are you talking about? Really odd that they didn't have fresh flowers there and they had blah, blah, blah instead. Like, oh, yeah, didn't notice that and wasn't asking for your design, So I always ask what you like best because I don't really need to know about the people's clothing and, that kind of stuff. All right, let me just see because there were a couple more. If there are things I'm forgetting, just ask me, but I'm going to look at my notes real quick.
Well, what's the number one activity, most important activity in this business besides after prospecting?
Oh, three-way calls. Three-way calls are not even a question. If you're not doing them, you're missing the boat. Just do them. I mean, I hated them. I thought they were you've probably heard me say this before. I thought they were the creepiest, weirdest, strangest, just blah. But they're the greatest tool we have. And they're the greatest tool for two things. They're really important training tools, super important training tools. The number one training tool we have, because you get to hear real live human being with real live experience talking and sharing and doing this stuff. So it's not like a made up thing. That's important. The other thing that's super important, we talked about this morning on the NMD call, the courting process, if you will, in this business, the way you reach out to somebody, the way you start somebody from that instant, that very, it sounds so silly, but from that very first exposure, It doesn't matter what it is. If that exposure happens at your 4th of July party while you're drinking beer and you give them a 2-hour dissertation, guess what? If they join you, they're going to do the same thing. And as their upline, you will not be happy. You're going to say, you did what? Wait, huh? No, that's not what we do. So whatever you do for that very first exposure, and this is really hard. It was hard for me. I know it's hard for most people, and it's hard for a lot of the NMDs that are like, we're shifting how we think. If you don't think about things like that, you find yourself down the road having to revamp and change stuff. And when your business is small, the most important question I think you can ask yourself is this duplicatable? And when I have a multi-million-dollar international franchise, will this be duplicatable? If the answer is no, stop yourself from doing it, because you'll have happen to you the same thing that happened to me and to my friend Kim. We couldn't see our businesses being any bigger than 2 distributors, 3 distributors, 10 customers, 12. So as this grew, we never changed how we did things until we reached NMD, and barely like fainted when we got to the 39 Club retreat because we were exhausted. I mean, we couldn't keep our eyes open anymore. Just needed to relax. We not celebrate, just like, oh my gosh, because we were doing things that were not duplicatable, and we were carrying the world on our backs, and nothing we did was duplicatable. And it took a lot of rebuilding and retraining and redoing. So I encourage you to think about that stuff from the very beginning. Make your activities duplicatable. Make that sharing of a video, 3-way call, sort of just how you do stuff. If I thought of you because blah, blah, blah. If not, no big deal. If I sent you over a video, would you watch it? Great. What'd you like best? Awesome. Get on the phone with your upline. And just keep that as sort of how you do stuff. The way you court somebody will always be what they do. Bring them in with 3-way calls. It's all they'll ever do. And some of you may know the Lacey Daunt story. Lacey didn't know any better. So she got to national marketing director in pretty short order, and there were 2 things at play. She had no knowledge, so all she could do was put her people in front of somebody who knew, and that served her incredibly well. And as she started to know better, she knew enough to not know better and put them in front of her, right? She then learned, oh, this works. Why would I work harder when all I have to do is point? We're calling my friend. Oh, you want information? We're calling my friend. That's all she did. And I don't make light of what she did. She did a lot of it, and she did a lot of it quickly, but that is what she did. And she did it all day long. Right. So for those that don't want a business that size, do it once a week, do it once a day, do it 5 times a day, do it, make sure that your activity matches your goal, matches the result that you want. That's all. So your activity just has to match your result. That's all. The result that you're looking for.
And ultimately, Beth, the way we grow is through acquiring new team. That's it. That's the bottom line. The more team you have, the bigger shot you have at helping them grow to realize their dreams, and you grow to realize yours. There's a ripple effect.
Absolutely. It also helps you work smarter, not harder. And I can't say enough about this, having just come off my own personal, second surgery in 2 years. And so between my daughter and I, we have had 6 surgeries in 4 years, and I'm a single mom. And so that's gymnastics for you. It just keeps on giving decades later. But anyway, so we've had 6 surgeries in this house in 4 years. And thankfully, I have a big enough organization that my business grows. Do I touch my business? Yeah, I've touched my business every day. And I will tell you, there were some days I really didn't want to. So I did less. And that's another thing I want to talk about. So the working smarter means that there are more people doing a little bit. And there are 2 really important things here. So it's fine to be in low production. So when I say low, it's fine to do less, right? You have days, weeks, months, seasons in your life, or seasonally, where you do less. That's okay. Less is okay. Being in low production is okay. I just would never be in no production. It's really hard to get back into production when you've been in no production. So turn the volume way down, do less, way less, a lot less, but just don't ever do nothing. That's not a good place to be, ever.
right? What about the 80 percenters, Beth? I love what you say about that.
Okay, so, I'm hoping you'll all agree, and you can just shake your heads if you do, and if you don't, just shake them this way. It's fine. But would you all agree that cream rises to the top?
Yeah.
Everyone has heard the theory, like the 80, 15, 5, that people in our business, typically there's the 5%ers who make up the smallest piece of our business, but they're the ones who are, NMDs, 100 clubs. And then there are the 15%ers who do well. They have goals. Maybe they're not, quite at the 5, and then there's the rest, and there's the 80%. And that is literally what it sounds like. It is 80% of everyone's business. And depending on the size of your business, that'll look different. So let's just say you're a VF, your 80%ers are probably dealers. You're a, senior sales coordinator, your 80%ers are probably dealers and DDs. You look at my business and Maura's business and the other NMDs, our 80%ers are probably, maybe VFs-ish, qualified VFs maybe, but and maybe not even, but maybe right around VF-ish. So the 5%ers and the 15%ers, we're going to always find a way to do what we have to do. We'll find the call, we'll find the event, we'll add customers, we'll add team, we'll be creative, we'll do what has to get done because cream rises to the top and it always does its thing. That's not where the attention is really ever needed. Those people get supported and, you work at the pace that they work at. But imagine if you were able to take all the people in your business, or 80% of the 80%ers, if you could take a large majority of your 80%ers and you could just help elevate them. So if all those people ever did was they were just products of the products. They had a quad, so they had Trio, Omega, and they grew a tower garden. What would your paycheck look like? Because I know mine would go right through the roof.
You would too.
Right? I mean, if and no matter how big or small anyone's business is, what would it look like if everybody in your business, whether you have one person in your business or 10 or whatever, they all just were products of the products. They all just did this much more. Your paycheck would change. So if we can actually reach those people by acknowledging them, shining the light on them, applauding them, congratulating them for the things that they do, rather than trying to make them do the things that they don't want to do, or chastising them for the things they're not doing, or making them feel less than because they're like one of those people that really aren't doing anything. So like, I'm just not going to, that kind of thing. It doesn't work. It may work in other areas of life, but it doesn't work in this business. And so when I started doing that, I started doing it in all kinds of different ways. And it's really interesting what people will do for acknowledgement. People don't get acknowledged in this world. People do not get thanked or congratulated, and I do little things. And when I say little, I'm talking little. I'm talking sending a postcard saying, I appreciate you. Thank you for your commitment to your own excellence. Thank you for choosing Juice Plus as the foundation of your family's healthy diet and lifestyle. So I've been doing this for about 5 months, and it is absolutely amazing to me to see what these people are doing just to get a Sunday shout out. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing it on Sunday. So people who add one order, so they add, a half-eaten child chewable, congratulations. And it works. Right? So I think we would all agree that, 15 PVC and, 22 cents or whatever we make on it is not going to change the world. It's not going to change our Facebook. Change our paycheck, but it changes things for them, and it changes how they feel about a shout out on Facebook. It changes how they feel about even being on the team page, how they look for Sunday. Am I getting a shout out because I did order Tower Tonic? Is that going to count? So it's like these little things that they get excited about, and they're participating more at a different level. And I really didn't think it would work, to be perfectly honest. I try things and see if they'll work, but this one has worked, and people like to be acknowledged. And even for the people who say, well, I don't need the attention. And honestly, I was the queen of that. Like, I don't need attention. I don't need my name in a booklet. But I'll tell you what, the handful of times that my name wasn't in print or that my name didn't show up, I was not a happy girl, and I made sure that never happened again. And it wasn't even because I don't even know what it is. It's like, if other people's name is in there, so is mine. And so, you know,
And really, you're not a competitive athlete at all.
not
Really. But Beth, we did something similar to that where we did a shout out to everybody that placed an order in our organization. But I like the shout out Sunday, wherever I like having a day for it. So I'm gonna copy on that. I love that. Um, at the end, if it remind me, Beth, if you have a few minutes, I want everybody to ask questions, if that's okay.
yeah, I can take some questions now because I'm sure you guys are getting sick of hearing my voice. So let me.
Well, wait. Somebody's pulling up in my driveway, and it might be my daughters. My daughters are coming. I haven't seen one of them for a year. Actually, two of them for a year, and my grandson for a year. So I'm going to go. But thank you, Beth. I love you, and thank you for the invitation. Thank you, team. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, we'll finish without you. Bye. Is she off? Hold on.
That's funny. Someone's pulling up in my driveway. I think it's my family.
Go, Laura, go.
Well, I knew she said she didn't know if the girls were coming today or tomorrow, but all right. Yeah. Oh, there she goes. Okay, I think she's off, but yeah, I thought she'd never leave because I did want to say something, but I didn't want her to hear, so I was hoping. No, I love her, but I'm glad she's off. And I will take your questions. So, all right. So I want to just talk about qualifying really quick. And I know she's not, she'll pop her face back on if she comes on. So I'll do this quick in case she does. So one of the things that I did years ago that to me was just the coolest thing. So for those of you that don't know the brief, I'm not even gonna get into the whole story, but my direct upline is Dr. Tamara Sachs, and her husband, Joe Janowitz, was my sponsor, and he passed away. And so in my sticking with the business, and I was very new when he passed away, and I really had no idea what I was doing, but I kind of stumbled and fumbled my way through for a long time. And one of the things that I made a commitment to do was obviously secure our financial future for myself and my daughter. And I am a single mom with no other source of income, but I was really committed to growing this business sort of as Joe's legacy and all that he poured into me for the short time we worked together. And I wanted to be able to do something for Tamara and her daughter. And obviously there's not much you can do in that situation other than be a friend. And we weren't even really that close at the time. I was closer to Joe. And so, you know, she was, I knew that if I grew my business, that it would continue to solidify their financial future, and it'll be one less piece that they'd have to worry about. And so I knew at one point, and Tamara was still in mourning, that if I hit 24 club, she would be a 39 club. And that was a big deal for me. Like to be able to do that and to be able to be like, oh my gosh, look what we did. Like our team did this and now you're a 39 club. And that was exciting for me. And so I know, I mean, I love Maura, and she really has been an incredible friend to me in a million different ways. And I'm sure you guys feel exactly the same way, and you're fortunate to have her as a leader because she adores you guys. You should hear how she talks about you. I mean, truly, I'm friends with a lot of leaders in this business, and you should hear the way people complain about their teams. Well, no, you should never hear that. But Maura never has a bad word to say ever. She really doesn't ever have a bad word to say. It's always about, you know, what can she do and what can she give and how can she do things better to serve you all better. And so I don't know if you guys are up for the challenge, but I think it'd be super cool if, you know, if you're not qualified, get qualified. If you're a 0 club, be a 1 club, be a 3 club, be something different by the close of September business. And if all of you elevate, because that's the only way teams grow, right? Teams grow by the tide rises by everybody rising. And so it would be super cool if you kind of quietly just turned up the volume a little bit and just did a little bit more and got yourself to wherever that next place is for you, whether it's 1 club, 2 club, 3 club, 6 club, whatever it is for you guys. And as a team just walked into conference at the next club level, and Maura actually will have no idea what happened, but she'll be super happy that it did. And she'll just be super impressed with everybody working. And obviously your business has changed too, but I just think it would be a neat thing to do. So anyway, happy. If you guys have any questions about that, just message me and we can do that privately without her even knowing.
Hey, Beth, she will know exactly what's going to happen because she follows those numbers all the time, but I think it's a great idea and it's lovely.
One of the things that we're working on is, so I think the numbers are, I agree with you, Donna, completely. The numbers are super important. And so what we've tried to do, Kim and I have done this, Maura and I are doing this, is being a little, so knowing the numbers, knowing where everybody's at, knowing what's possible, but not being so obsessed with the numbers, being more obsessed with the activity and the action. And so if the action is there, I can promise you this, if you guys turn up the volume on the action, she actually won't have as much time to be as obsessed about the numbers. So if you keep her busy with three-way calls, she won't really know what time. It'll be like 11 o'clock at night and she'll be tired and she'll go to bed. And, you know, if you can keep that up for like another 75 days, it's all good. And then she'll be like, wait, whoops, you know, no, I'm sure you won't be able to fool her like that, but it'll be a big surprise to see, you know, people qualifying that weren't, or people moving into club position that weren't. So let me take your questions, because I know we don't have that much more time and I want to make sure that everyone's questions are answered. Okay, I don't bite, and you know you're gonna have
Okay, I'll ask one. When we talked about letting people off the hook, so I talked with, I had to go to an orthopedic today for my wrist. I'm sorry about all your injuries. I was a former gymnast too, and I'm suffering with them as well. When you talked about letting people off the hook, I juiced him as quickly as I could, as he gave me a cortisone shot, and I let him off the hook, and I thought that, you know, I could tell he said, I'm really healthy, and I did the whole thing about cellular level and what Dr. Stricker says about just adding it to your diet, and I feel like I did the best I could in those moments, and he just was backing up and going, ah. And I said, if you're not interested, that's totally cool. I just wanted to share it with you as one golfer to another golfer. And then I was thinking, oh God, did I let him off the hook, and was I just not supposed to? But when you said that, that made me feel better. Like, why do you do that? Just to be able to come back later, or what?
A couple reasons. One, so, you know, there's this idea I've heard, maybe you guys have ever felt this way or feel this way or heard this before. I don't want to be too pushy. Well, you know, here's a little myth breaker. None of us are that powerful. You can't push somebody into giving their social security number. You
Right,
can't push someone. So, you know, giving a little bit of grace to someone and saying, hey, you know, I know we both golf and we've been on the golf course for 86 hours and you know, I'd love to share with you my you know, I have a colleague who's an orthopedic surgeon. He was just talking the other night about golfers. I'd love to share that with you, but if it's not for you, totally cool. So you don't put them on the spot. They don't have to lie to you. They don't have to like jump under the covers and like, is she gone yet? Like, did she leave? You know, because that's what people do. They have that like, uh-oh, here she comes. Here he comes. Oh my gosh. You know, you preserve the relationship, and you make people feel good, because it's not always the right time for somebody. And, you know, I was working with my team. I said, you know, what would have happened if you had reached out to me, you know, as I was getting ready to go in for surgery, and I had my phone in my hand and I looked at it and I handed it to my daughter. Yeah, it looked like I saw your Facebook message, but I was under anesthesia. I wasn't ignoring you. I physically couldn't respond to you.
Yeah.
So think about the things that we perceive, like, oh, I know they saw it at 11:02. Yeah, maybe their kid puked all over the place at 11:02 and a half, and your message is just not that important. So when you let somebody off the hook, they actually are more likely to answer you and respond to you and engage with you, because they know that you're not tied to anything, and you're not gonna, you know, well, you said you'd watch it. Well, why didn't you know that? Like, you just don't want to ever be that person.
Thank you, Beth. I really appreciate that. It makes me feel a little better.
You did the right thing.
Beth, I have a question.
Sure.
How about, I have some neighbors that I've gotten to know really well, and they don't know what I do. So what's a good way to bring it up to them now that I've never said anything?
This is the best question ever. Okay, so we were all taught build rapport, build rapport, build rapport. So that usually looks something like, hey Sue, how are you? Good. Oh good. How are the, oh good. I love your hair. Oh good. Blah blah. And guess what? Now you're sitting here going, oh well, yeah, I've kind of seen them outside all summer, and we've had all this chit chat, and now I don't know what to say. So my suggestion to all of you, and just let me tell you this, any suggestion I give you is because I have done it myself many, many, many times, and it has worked, or I would never, ever, ever let the words come out of my mouth if I had not done it myself. So like the giving somebody an out, I did that for 3 solid months with about 300 people, about 280 people before I even shared it with my team. So, and the results were incredible. So for this, it is really important that we are direct. So why do you want to share it with these people?
They have kids. She has 3 kids. She's a busy mom.
So what do you want to share with them? Product or business?
Product.
Why?
Because it could help their children. I know they don't eat well enough.
With what? What's going to help them with?
Getting more fruits and vegetables into them simply. It's going to improve their health.
How do you know that? I'm being difficult for a reason.
Because there's 35 medical studies that have proven that their health will benefit by eating Juice Plus.
Okay. So, and I am doing this on purpose.
No, I love it.
So if somebody ever approached, so I'm a mom, and I don't know who is or who isn't, but if somebody approaches a parent, and I know this from my years coaching gymnastics, if someone approaches a parent and says, hey, I have a great way for you to get more fruits and veggies into your kid, my initial reaction as a mom would be, who the hell are you to tell me how to feed my kid? And how do you know how I feed my kid? And do you now think I actually don't feed my kid well? I personally would be super defensive because I do feed my kid really well. And could we do better? Yeah, we added Juice Plus to our diet. So I think that so in this situation, it's got to come up in conversations. They have to say something to you. So this is where you're going to have to guide the conversation. And if it's not business, and you're leading with product, maybe you start with, oh my gosh, do you guys plant a garden? I mean, something. You got to get in there somehow for her to say, oh no, I don't garden because my kids hate vegetables. Oh, do they really? Well, I might actually have something for you. Do you want to get more veggies into them? So it's going to have to be something that they say to you. I am a firm believer. I know we have to hop off in 1 sec. So in my switching everything that we're doing as a team, I did this also first. Being very direct. So for example, let's just say Hamilton's a Facebook friend of mine, I've seen all his stuff and want to share the business with him. My message to him would be, hey Hamilton, how are you? Looks like you're enjoying this hot summer we're having. Would love to catch up with you, but I'm actually reaching out to ask you if you keep your income options open. I'm actually reaching out to you to ask if you're interested in earning some additional income. I'm working on a project. If not, that's okay. If not, totally cool. If not, no big deal. Would still love to hear, all about your summer. Let's catch up. Look forward to hearing from you. So I've done a bunch of things. I've been really direct. I've asked for what I wanted. I gave him an out, and then I built rapport on the back end. So he knows that if he says no, I'm not interested, I still want to know about his summer. And you do the same thing with product. So, hey Marie, saw your awesome picture on Facebook the other day with smoothies. Love seeing that you're eating more fruits and veggies. I was actually reaching out to you because curious if you plant a garden or have any interest in planting a garden. If not, totally cool. Would love to hear more about what got you into drinking smoothies. Giving that out and then building rapport on the back end works really well because you get right to the point and you don't spend the 87 hours of the nonsensical rapport building. That's the BS, right? Because people say, I don't want to be too pushy. I want to make sure this, I want to make sure that, the relationship. Well, the truth, if we're all being really honest, the truth is the BS is in the nonsensical chatter for 6 months to then say, oh, you said vegetable, actually. Huh, so weird. That's what I do. Like, duh, that's why you reached out in the first place. Or you wait for them to say, oh, I so wish I could take the kids to Disney, but I don't have any overtime. And you go, oh, no overtime, I might have some. Like, that's just so silly. Be direct. This is a business. Ask for what you want. And then you can go back to being buds 5 seconds after you send that message. But doing it on the back end works incredibly well. So take one more question. I know we all have to hop on in here. this awesome toxicity talk. Other questions? Oh, come on, you guys. You know you're going to have them when I get off. Come on.
Okay, I will if nobody else is. I talk to a lot of people in the grocery stores all over the place. I just don't know how to take it to that. You're developing this little rapport in line, and I know you're supposed to take it outside of that arena, but can you?
Yep.
I just don't know how to take it to the next level sometimes.
Give me a recent one that you can remember.
Just talking to a lady, and we're complaining about something in line. We're talking about, I see she's got fruits and vegetables. She sees my cart. So we're talking and communicating. We've kind of clicked. Or I followed this other woman, and I kept following each other around the store. And I said to her, she apologized for bumping into me all the time. I said, we're obviously buying the same things. We're in the organic aisles, that kind of stuff. It's like I feel like I want to just take it to the next level.
I'll tell you how I do it. Mine goes like this.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. You're probably not buying romaine either. I cannot believe how many recalls we've had. And then you're going to say something, and then I'm going to say, oh my, you know what? I just heard the most amazing thing. You know what? Just what's your cell? I'll text it over to you later because you're going to love this. Like I could see what you're buying. What's your cell? I'll text it to you. And I take my phone, and my phone is in my hand, and that's it. It's one sentence. I have never had anybody, I have done this. I did this in the tire place. I've done this 5,000 places. Nobody has ever said, I'm not giving you my cell. You're a stranger. No one's ever said that to me, ever. And
I don't see Juice Plus. Don't see that. I just heard this amazing thing. What's your cell?
I've done it with, I can't even tell you how many times having a conversation about omegas and I take fish oil, and I said, oh my gosh, have you seen the study from Harvard about like all the plastic have you seen that? And they're like, no. And I did this on an airplane. Turns out she was a doctor. So I said to her, oh, you know what? We're going to be getting off in a sec. Let me take your cell and I'll text it over to you. Not only was she a doctor, she's in Danbury. How crazy is that? So I have done this with every age group, old and young. And the reason it works, and it works for one reason. If you're not awkward and you're totally confident, like you do this every day, because I act like I do, because I do. And I just say, oh, you know what? One of my friends actually just did a thing on toxicity. You know what? Let me just send it over to you. What's your cell? I'll text it to you when I have service. I've never had anyone not give me their cell phone, ever. Do they respond? Not always. But that's not the point, right? The point is our activity, what we do. Yeah. We can control them. We can control us. So that's what you do. So just ask for it. Oh my gosh, just heard the most amazing thing. And you obviously totally get it. You're in the, organic, whatever aisle. So just ask for it. What's your cell? I'll send that over to you.
Cool.
Or, if someone says anything, like a recipe, you're in the gluten-free, and they say, oh my gosh, yes, actually I have an amazing gluten-free cookbook. It's a digital one. I'll send it over to you. What's your cell? Oh my gosh, I totally have to connect with you. That was the best thing you just said. What's your cell? I have to text you later. So just be confident. Try it a few times. And honestly, after you do it 2 or 3 times, you're going to be like, oh, that works. That was fun. So I
can't wait to do it.
Okay, don't go out tonight collecting numbers, because if you go out at midnight collecting numbers, you're probably not going to get any. Then it's like marginally creepy, but
all the drunks out there or something.
Yeah,
I'm doing it tomorrow in the grocery store.
I'm doing it. I definitely want to hear. And if you guys have any questions about anything that we chatted about, you know where to find me. I'm on Facebook, so just message me. But thank you guys for having me on, and I hope that you have breakfast.
Thank you, Beth. Really
Thank you so much.
Very helpful.
good night.
That was great. Maura's still recording, isn't she?
She might be. We could all just hang up. We'll be okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, guys. Have a good
Bye.